And welcome into the Radio Days edition of Now and Next. I'm Dave Trafford. I got to sit in with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010 and his Party for Two.
This is Jerry Agar on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
So I'm walking down the street the other day with a pizza in my hand on the way home to enjoy it, and I hear my name called out in the darkness. So that never happens. And there is a person with a guitar case in one hand and an amplifier in the other hand, and it's Dave Trafford. How are you this morning?
I'm okay. I thought you'd taken up sort of pizza delivery on the side there when I saw you.
Times are tough. And we got a lot of pizza eaters in my neighborhood.
That's right.
Yeah. So turns out that Dave plays Thursday nights. Not every Thursday night. I found out this past Thursday. But Thursday nights in my neighborhood. What's the place called?
Galway Arms.
Yeah. On Queensway. All right, so I opened the show. I know you watch curling. I opened the show today here defending both the men's and women's rinks, Canada at the Olympics. Both, I don't know if curling itself accused them of cheating, but that's the headline from too many places. They cheated. And I said this morning, no, they didn't. They just committed a rules infraction, which happens in sports all the time.
Yeah, I agreed. And it wasn't even the Curling Association. It was the Swedes, I think, they were playing at the time. And, you know, they accused them of double touching the rock. And it's a really technical thing. If the rock, you know, gets past the hog line, you're supposed to not be touching the rock at all, and away it goes. But when you watch the video, you see, okay, he kind of did touch the rock. Now, did it have an impact on the outcome or anything else? To your point, I'd be really shocked if barely touching your finger on that stone, just as it was leaving the past the hog line, actually made any impact or difference in the outcome of the that particular stone. I don't know, but so it wasn't cheating; it was an infraction, clearly.
Sure. It's very much like, well, here's one in football. If you talk about whether it had any impact, you'll get a circumstance sometimes where one guy doesn't get off the field fast enough and they have too many men on the field. And you look at it and go, yeah, but he was headed off the field. It didn't have any impact on the play. It doesn't matter. That's the rule. Yeah. And so, yes, they broke the rule. But the way I look at it is rules are broken in sports all the time. And somebody blows a whistle and says, here's what you did and here's the penalty and let's move on. Don't call them like in the situation I just mentioned in football. That's not cheating.
No, but in the curling situation, you know, typically, you know, it's kind of this slow, dry sport. Yep. It sure lit up once the Canadians got accused of cheating.
Yeah,
the F-bombs that were dropped live on television. Wow, I'm watching that again.
Do you think curling needs more of that?
Oh, sure. A little bit of glove dropping, elbows up, it'd be fun.
Broom dropping,
right?
Yeah. Oh, they've dropped the brooms. Here we go. So I guess we get to keep Crown Royal at the LCBO. Are you happy?
Looks like it. I mean, I'm not a regular consumer of the Crown Royal. I'm not sure that beyond the performative part of it that it was going to make much difference. But, you know, when you looked at the deal as it was, $23 million sounds like a drop of, Crown Royal in the bucket. I mean, it doesn't really sound like it's going to make a huge difference to that southwestern Ontario community that's losing the jobs because they're, moving south of the border. So, yeah, I guess it's okay. But I'm not sure that the threat of taking the liquor off the store shelves was actually to the benefit of the community that we'd like to see. $23 million just doesn't sound like a lot to me.
Okay, tariffs, counter tariffs, and bans ultimately affect consumers. I guess you can sell it politically sometimes, but I wish they'd stop it on both sides of the border.
Yeah, agreed. The idea, all of a sudden, you were trying to count among your friends who are the Crown Royal drinkers and who are really affected by this. Not so many. But the people who are losing their jobs because of the movement, that's an issue. So let's get down to protecting those jobs and rehabilitating that economy.
All right. Andrew Clark had a column. I talked about this a little earlier in the Globe and Mail, and I found it just highly entertaining. The headline on it is, looking at many neighborhoods, it seems the Toronto snow removal plan is wait for the sun.
Yeah, I heard the forecast just before I came on, in the top hour news. Looks like Wednesday's going to be the best snow removal day of the year so far. We're going to have plus temperatures and rain. So look at that. Olivia Chow praying for rain. She gets it and scores big.
As he points out in his column, nature is undefeated, and eventually you can do literally nothing and end up with no snow. But I don't know that that's actually the best snow removal
Yeah,
plan.
I'm not sure that's a business model we should be adopting. Last night I was out with some of my friends that you saw at the Galway there last week, and they were playing at the Gull and Firkin on Queen Street, and pulled up in front, got parking, watched the show, and it was great fun, and off we went. But then the Waze app told me to take Kenilworth Avenue up towards and get out towards Woodbine. I would have sworn, Jerry, it was a one-way street until I kind of looked beside me and saw that there was signage going the other way. There was barely enough room for one car to get up that winding hill through the beach. And I thought, oh my God, these people have been snowed in on this, what is a fairly busy street in the beach for 3 weeks. There were cars that were just piled up with snow, and nobody's done anything to remove that. So, yeah, I think it's easy to say we're on top of it, but you're not. You're just not. I saw one car on Eglinton Avenue last week. It had a pylon stuck on the top of it, and like 2 feet of snow all the way around it. It's been sitting there on Eglinton for the last 3 weeks, and no effort to dig it out.
Well, this is a large part of the problem, Dave, is that if we had to, because we just wanted to blame the city for something and we drove around finding little side streets off of side streets, oh, they didn't clean that street, that would be one thing. But there are problems on major thoroughfares in this city still.
No question. And the idea that, we were going to fix this, and last year we decided that it was such a crisis that there was going to be, special attention to it, and we're going to make sure it never happens again. Well, it did happen again. I heard John Burnside on this morning on John's show talking about, these are events that only happen a couple of times a winter. And that's fine, except it's taking 3 freaking weeks to get rid of the one-day event. That's not the answer. So if we're going to fix this, we're going to have to spend the money to do it. All that effort and attention to raiding the reserves to get the election year budget at City Hall surely could have come up with the money that would have made the difference in getting rid of the snow in the city right now.
Well, with the uploading of the maintenance of the Gardner and the DVP and some money coming down from the province, I think off air this morning, because Burnside was here in the building, as you just pointed out, he was on with John. He said to me that, I think, if I recall correctly, he said that gives Olivia Chow an extra $1.3 billion she could work with. So where's she putting the money?
Yeah, exactly. And the snow removal package that they were kicking around was considerably less than that. It's funny, one night I was driving up the parkway, and clearly if the province is involved, they're doing their job in removing the snow, because they had a huge snow removal unit just cruising down the guardrail there, getting rid of all the snow on the parkway. But still, Eglinton Avenue, at Yonge, you've still got piles of snow and cars snowed in.
All right, City News has this article. Whether it is a mini sabbatical or an adult gap year, more people are taking extended work breaks. Could you see businesses being amenable to the idea of, hey, I've been working here now for 7 years. I need to take 6 months off. I don't think you'd be able to talk people into letting you do that as paid, but unpaid? Do you think companies would be cool with that?
I think that there's some value in this, in as much as, you've got a pet project that has something to do with the work you do. So you decide, you want to explore more about whatever story is really kind of exciting you, but you don't really have the time to do on a daily basis on the talk show. So if you were able to make the pitch and say, here's how we're going to do this, here's what I'm going to bring back, and it's similar to what would happen in an academic setting, right? When they take a sabbatical, they have to come back with some work that they can show. So I would think that there could be some value in that for various kinds of companies and different kinds of sectors, so that, maybe you wouldn't get full pay, but you'd get some of it covered, just because there's an option there for it to be beneficial to the employer. But no, I think that would be kind of an interesting perspective in terms of how do you not only recruit but then retain the people that you want, because you've invested so much in them over the last 20 years or whatever it happens to be. The idea of losing them or having them get bored, I think there's probably some potential here.
Well, you just said something to me that I was unaware of. When a professor gets a sabbatical, they don't just get to go sit on the beach. They have to come back having shown they used their time wisely.
That's my experience with folks I know who have been on sabbatical. They go away, they have to come back and actually say, I did this while I was away. Now, I stand to be corrected because it's anecdotal, but I don't know anybody who has just taken sabbatical and not produced something.
I want to visit all 30 baseball stadiums in one trip. I don't want to have to do it day after day after day. So I would need a couple of months really to do it comfortably. Do you think I could sell that to the company?
Oh, I'm sure.
You've been gone for a while, Dave. I think he used to be our news director. He is now chief executive producer at Story Studio Network and the host on The Ledge, your Ontario politics podcast, which is Saturday at what time?
4 o'clock, 4 p.m. in the afternoon, featuring Tim Hudak, Kathleen Wynne, John Wright, and Keith Leslie. It's a fun time.
All right, Dave Trafford, thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you Thursday, Jerry. Now and Next is an Eye Contact production.